Thank you for coming to this session. It's about 20 minutes. I'll show you some of the capabilities in Enterprise Mobility plus Security. I'm going to show you a lot of demos. I know it's Wednesday. You probably are exhausted of all the sessions and partying every night. So I'll show you a lot of demos to try to keep you entertained. My name is Vlad. I'm on the EMS team. I cover mostly Microsoft Intune and SCCM, so device management part of EMS, but I'll cover also a lot of other parts of EMS as well today. So very shortly, again, I'll try to do most of the demos today, but today's session is about helping you to understand how you can help your organization to allow employees to be more productive across all the devices in your organization, helping to keep your company data protected across iOS, Android, Windows, Mac as well, and making you more efficient. So how can you do more with less resources? Just so we all are on the same page, I'm not going to spend too much time, but we all understand that many organizations are going through the digital transformation. So things are changing. People don't work from 9 to 5 in the office anymore. People have various type of devices. They want to work from home sometimes. They want to be able to get the stuff done from Starbucks and so on. So there are some needs that the employees have. Things like being able to use their personal Windows device, for example, or their iPhone to access emails. They want to be able to access work files, email applications easy. They don't have to be able to call help desk and so on. And since we're becoming a much more connected world, they want to be able to collaborate with people inside and outside the organization as well. So that's something that a lot of customers are telling us that their employees are looking for. From the IT point of view, there are some challenges with that. Obviously, a lot of IT pros would like their employees to be able to access their work stuff easily, but they want to be able to manage access so they know who is coming and under what conditions, right? They also want to ensure that the company's data is protected on any endpoint, right? And it's not just Windows anymore. And they also are asked to do more stuff with less, right? If in the past you just had to build your corporate network, make sure that you know who is coming to and who cannot, now you have to be able to manage your iOS, Android, Mac devices, cloud apps, on-prem apps, native apps, and so on. So how do you do all that with the same resources? We believe that we can help you with that as part of our EMS, so Enterprise Mobility plus Security. When it comes to user productivity, we support all the major operating systems. So as I mentioned, iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows as well. We enable simple access to resources with single sign-on, for example, across different types of apps, and I'll show you some of the stuff in the demo. And we allow self-service for employees, so they can access apps on their own, they can reset their own password. Again, small things that they can do on their own without having to call you. And because we're part of larger Microsoft 365, they can use the Office apps to get the work done. From the data protection point of view, which a lot of security teams are concerned about, there are two major points here, is being able to manage access, so define the conditions under which an employee or a user can access company data in the cloud or on-prem. And the second part is being able to protect that data at the endpoint once the access is granted. And again, I'll show you some of that as well. And the last point is how can you do all that with more resources with less resources and be more efficient so you can become a partner to the business, not just a team that tries to make sure things are running well. So let me show you some demos quickly. I'm going to switch to my iPad first and show you some of the end user productivity pieces of what EMS can enable your organization to do. So I'm going to hope that the demo gods are nice to me today and Wi-Fi is working. So this is an iOS device. I chose to use this device to show you that it's not just Windows that we work on from EMS point of view, but you'll be able to do similar things as an end user on Android, Mac, or Windows as well, right? So first thing was simple access to apps, for example. So I'm going to launch my browser on iPad. And the first thing you'll notice is that I'm required to enter my PIN here. It's because the policy I said in EMS said that if you're trying to access company resources, you have to enter your PIN. If I had a newer iPad, I could use my Touch ID, but I have an older one, so I'm just using the PIN. Very secret. I'm going to go ahead and launch my company application, so I'll be able to access all the apps available to me. So I hope you can see on the screen, but there are some applications that IT made available to me, and these are both cloud applications and on-prem SaaS applications, and I'm able to access them without VPN profile. So a very basic one, I will try to access my email. So this is Exchange Online. And you will see that I'll be able to access email without having to without having to enter my password. This is a single sign-on functionality in Azure AD that allows you to access both on-prem and cloud applications with single sign-on. And you have multiple options. You can use your ADFS. You can sync hash of the password to the cloud, or now there's a new functionality called pass-through auth, where you basically still keep your passwords on your premises within your on-prem AD, but we're able to allow a single sign to your users with this new technology. Another app, so I'll try a different one that's not Microsoft. So I'll go ahead and try to access another common one, which is Salesforce, so pretty common for customers. So as you will see in a second as well, I'll be able to access Salesforce as an employee without having to enter my password. Again, this works through the Azure AD single sign-on functionality, and first two apps I showed you were for the cloud apps or software as a service, so SaaS shortly. And then I'll show you another one, on-prem app. So this is going to be an on-premises web application that runs within your company network. So it will be this Contoso retail app. And again, you will see in a second that I'll be able to access it without password, without VPN. This is a technology called Azure AD Application Proxy that uses the port 443 to allow access to on-prem apps for the employees without using VPN. So that's an option for you as well. Okay? Some other functionality that I can do as an end user is I can add more apps. So for example, if the list of apps that IT enabled to me is not satisfactory to me, I can click on Add App, and I'll be able to see other applications I can add. So I can actually get my work done, again, without having to call my help desk or IT admin. I can also see all the groups I'm a member of and join more groups on my own or create my own group. And again, these groups are synced with the on-prem AD if you choose to do so. So again, you're allowing your people to kind of work on their own without your involvement. And then the last thing, which is very important, and you'll be surprised how many customers save a lot of money, is by allowing people to reset their own password, right, from this iPad device. So they can reset their own both cloud password in Azure AD, which will be also synced to the on-premises using any device they use, basically. You can also set your multi-factor authentication here. So some companies use MFA to secure access. So you can, as an employee, I can say, I'm choosing my MFA to be an app or a phone or SMS, for example, or a text. And we also announced this week partnerships with other MFA providers like Duo, for example, RSA, where you can use them instead of using Azure MFA instead. And so these are web applications. From operating system point of view, you can also deploy native applications to the platform. So in this case, iOS apps using Intune, which is part of EMS. So it can deploy application automatically to a device. In this case, you see a list of Microsoft and non-Microsoft applications that were deployed to me as a user based on what IT decided is important to me. I can also access my other applications using Intune Company Portal, where you'll see a list of other apps that I can also install on my own. Again, these applications are the native apps that are available either through the Apple App Store or your internal line of business application. So let's see if the Wi-Fi is fast enough. And what you will also see in the Intune Company Portal is not just a list of apps, but also all of my devices. So all of the devices that I use for work will be listed here. So I can remotely wipe them, for example, or reset the PIN code if I need to. So that gives me, as an employee, again, more power to get stuff done on my own without having to call IT. So this was productivity. Let me show you some of the data protection functionality of EMS. So that's where a lot of security teams and IT teams are concerned about, to ensure that all this stuff that people are accessing stays within the control of your organization, so it doesn't go into the places that are outside your control. So a very common one you might have seen before is I'm going to access my, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my second iPad and show you access management. So being able to decide who can access your data and who cannot. So let's see if it switches. Right, so you can see this is my unmanaged iPad. So I'll show you that this device is not managed by EMS. So you can see there is no management profile. So a BYOD basically device. I'm going to go ahead and open my Outlook app, and I'll show you how you can manage access to your company resources in this case. So you see I have an email. This is my personal, so Outlook.com email. And I'm going to go ahead and try to enter or access my company email, so Office 365, Exchange Online. So I'm going to put my email address here, chris@contosobuild.com. And then I'll put my password. And what you'll notice in a second here that the logo will change and the background color will change to my company logo, so I know I'm actually at the right place. It's not a phishing attack, so another vector of security for you. And what you see here is that it says, hey, we know you're the right person, but your policy in your company says you have to have your devices enrolled and managed before you can access Exchange Online. So this is a feature called conditional access, part of EMS, and allows you to define conditions under which people can access your resources. One of the conditions is device compliance. So device has to be compliant and managed before the access is granted, right? I can click on enroll. That will basically take me to a place where I can install Intune Company Portal, go through the enrollment stage, and make my device managed and compliant. So I'm going to skip that part for now, but you get the point on this one. This also works not just for the Outlook app. It also works for your native email clients. So if I try to add my email to iOS, Android, or Windows, for example, in the native email clients, I only get one email from Exchange saying the same basically thing. You have to get your device managed before access is granted. And all of this is done from the cloud. There is no on-prem infrastructure or gateways. This is a purely cloud implementation using Exchange Online, Azure AD, and Intune in this case. And another one, for example, if I go to my browser, Safari in this case, and I'll try to access email from the browser. So I'll go to OVA, and I'll show you that you'll get the same message even if an employee is trying to access from the cloud, again, without having to do anything on premises. This is purely done from the cloud. So hopefully Wi-Fi keeps working. It's been nice to me so far. All right, so I'm going to use the same account, so Chris@contosobuild. The password is saved, so I'm going to click Go. And you will see, again, the same message that I have to enroll my device. So this is conditional access, pretty cool, super easy to implement. I'll show you how to do it from the admin console. So that's the first part, so managing access to your resources. The second part is how do you ensure that data stays protected once the access is granted. So I'll show you on my original iPad, which is already managed by Intune. So it is compliant with the policy, so let's see if it works. All right, so I'm going to launch Outlook app as well. And you'll see in a moment that I have both my email accounts. So I have my Outlook.com personal and my Contoso build, which is my O365. So you'll see I have both accounts here, so I can use both at the same time using the same app. So I'll go here. I'll open one of the apps. A very common use case is you'll try to copy some stuff. And then this is a protected app with EMS. So I'll try to paste this information, which is a company information, into my personal app, which in this case is just Notes app in iOS. If I try to paste, you will see there's a message to me saying, hey, this is your organization's data. You cannot paste this information here. So it tells the employee that this is something you should not do because company's data, and you're trying to move it to unprotected location. If I try to go to Microsoft Word, which is in this case also a managed or protected app, you will see in a moment that I'll be able to paste that information because this app is also managed by EMS. So the policy I set in EMS says that you can do this. This is allowed from the employee point of view. And I think my iPad is really slow, so it's an older iPad. Apologize for the speed. So you'll see here, this is a document that's stored in OneDrive for Business. So it's a corporate storage location. If I try to paste, you'll see paste works, right? And I have the text from the Outlook app available here. If I try to, for example, save this now, so let me save a copy. So I'll try to save this. If I try to save this to my personal storage, let's say OneDrive for Business, you will see that, I don't know why, here. You'll see I am not able to, I think I want to remove the keyboard here. So I'll try to save a copy and put it to personal location. documents. So if I try to save this, this is my personal OneDrive, you'll see a message saying, hey, this operation is not allowed. Again, because the policy in Intune says you cannot move company data to personal storage. If I try to go to my OneDrive for Business, which is a company storage location, and try to save this, you'll see the operation is allowed because the policy says you can store company data in a company storage location. So that's app level protection. We go one step beyond that with being able to protect files at the data at the file level itself. So I'll open another file here, which is my PowerPoint slide, and it's protected by Azure Rights Management, so it's encrypted. You'll see that you cannot open this within the iOS. So I'll open it within the PowerPoint app itself. And you will notice in a second is that this app is now, or the file itself, is encrypted with Azure Information Protection. So the file itself is encrypted. And it doesn't matter where the file goes to, it knows who can access the file and who cannot. So even if this file is stolen, forwarded to someone else, it's only if I allow this email to be, or this file to be accessed by Chris, only Chris will be able to access this file and no one else. So this is a pretty cool functionality of EMS as well. I think I'll have to log in once to get that done. So I will take this out so you don't see my password because I know you guys are all smart. So give me 1 second. I trust you, but at the same time, I know you guys are really smart. So I'll put it back. I hope you'll see it again. Okay, so I'll click go. So I'll log in and I'll open the file, and you'll see that in addition to managing access to the file itself, you can also define file level permissions of what people can do with this file. In this case, I can only view the file, but I cannot do anything else because that's what the policy, or whoever shared this file with me, he or she only allowed me to view the file and nothing else. Okay? So let me quickly switch to my PC and show you some of the admin capabilities because, as I mentioned, there's cool end user experiences you've seen today, but we also try to help you to be more efficient as an IT professional too. So I will switch to my admin console. This is the EMS console. It runs on Azure, so we're Azure service. And we have Microsoft Intune, Azure AD, and Azure Information available here. So some of the policies I showed you before, for example, the copy-paste save-as demo that I showed you on iPad here, you're able to define those policies as part of the Intune, which is responsible for mobile device and app management as well as PC management in your organization. So you can create that policy, assign it to a user, and all the protection is applied at the user level. So it doesn't even require device management. So for example, a policy I define here, you can see that you can choose which apps will be protected by EMS. You can choose the ones you need. A lot of Office apps and third-party apps, and you can bring your own apps as well. We have an app wrapper as well as SDK. And you can define the policies that you want to define for your end users. So what can they do with company data across the operating systems? And again, this works for iOS, Android, and Windows 10 as well. Speaking about Windows 10, we have put a lot of work for the past 2 years on Windows 10 specifically because a lot of customers are trying to move the management of Windows 10 from a traditional management with SCCM, for example, to a more modern management from the cloud. So we've been working on new features to really allow people to get this done from the cloud because that simplifies management. Since you have one management solution, in this case EMS, to manage all of your devices in the environment, it lowers TCO, right? So you don't have to maintain two solutions to get that done. And we announced this week a feature called co-management, where you can manage a Windows device with Intune and SCCM at the same time. So it allows you to basically move the management from traditional style to the modern style in small steps. So that's a cool one as well. Again, I have to finish up soon. An important point for you, as part of the EMS subscription, you have services available to you that help you to get started. So our Fast Track service helps you to get started. We have Microsoft engineers that help you to get deployed for all of EMS services. And we have global support as well, 24/7, that helps you if there are any issues. And again, there is no additional charge for that. It's included in your subscription, which is per user per month. And as some of you might know, EMS is just a part of the larger Microsoft 365 story. So we are working with Office and Windows teams closely to deliver that modern workplace for you as well. And our job in this world is to manage and secure both the Windows 10 as well as the Office 365 data. If you want to learn more, Microsoft.com/EMS. You can learn more about what we do. Free trial, 90 days, completely free. You can try it out, see how it works, full functionality. I think on that, I have to stop. So if you have any questions, please come by. I'll answer them. And on that, I want to thank you again for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.